Welcome to Spreadzies, presented by The Parlay, Canada's sports betting network, where we analyze and pick every single NFL game against the spread. My name is Luca and I don't like laying the points. I'm joined by Jelani Goodridge-Reed to preview the 4 divisional round games for this weekend. Bengals versus Titans, 49ers versus Packers, Rams versus Buccaneers, and Bills versus Chiefs. Welcome back, everybody, to Spreadzies here on The Parlay. I'm your host, Luca, alongside my co-host, Jelani, and we are into NFL Divisional Round Weekend. The wild card saw many blowouts, so we're hoping for the divisional round we get some closer games and some games that actually go down to the wire. But just to quickly recap to see how we did last week, Jelani and I both went 3-3 against the spread. First game, I got right, he got wrong. Second game, I picked the Patriots for whatever reason. They got blown out. Jelani got that one right. The third game, we're on the same page. That was no doubt about it. Buccaneers absolutely smoked the Eagles. And then the Niners upsetting the Cowboys. Jelani, your Cowboys out of the playoffs. Then the Steelers and Chiefs. Jelani got that one right. And then we both got Monday Night Football wrong. Cards couldn't cover +4. They got blown out. So it was a very unpredictable weekend. But before we get into our picks, I do want to get your reaction, Jelani. You're a huge Cowboys fan. I know you were furious. Give us your raw reaction to what went down in the final moments of that game, ultimately, costing the Cowboys their season.
Yeah, I understand that the Niners were covering the sideline, so we couldn't really do anything there, but I didn't like the QB draw in that spot. You gotta go down the field, guys. I saw the vision, I did, but no timeouts, 14 seconds left. It's a huge gamble. Dak ran a bit too far. You want to get to the 30-ish yard line. He went a bit further than that, and the ref, you can't blame the ref. I mean, what is he going to do? Go around the line? No, that would definitely make time run out. So, just as a Cowboys fan, there's so many issues. I don't even look at the last play, to be honest. Like, I could go on about this for like an hour and a half, but I won't. I'm just going to point to the penalties. I mean, when you have a franchise record, 14 penalties in a playoff game, guys, it's a playoff game at home. We're not in Seattle. We're not in Kansas City or anywhere loud like New Orleans. We're at home, and the line, all these penalties, all these guys not, following the script. And then Mike McCarthy, I mean, is that something where is he involved in that? Is he the reason why we're not disciplined? I don't know. But in general, you're looking at the Cowboys, so much talent. There's talent that could beat teams like Tampa and Green Bay, but it's just, it just didn't happen for us. So we'll see as we move forward and what Jerry's going to do with this team. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't hate the play call late in that game. Just the execution sucked. Like, if you are going to run something like that, Dak better hustle to that ball and get it to the ref. I don't like how they just let the ref get to the ball. You got to rush to get that ball to the ref so you could spike it, because it was, I could see why they did it. The sidelines were covered. You gain, 15, 20 yards, and then you take a shot at the end zone. But yeah, they might have gambled there, just not enough time on the clock. But yeah, like you said, we could talk about that for an entire hour. We will get into our picks. Jelani's moved past the Cowboys stuff. Yeah. He's good now. He's ready to pick some winners. Let's start. Bengals, Titans, first game of divisional round weekend. This spread sees the Titans as 3.5-point favorites, and they could also see Derrick Henry back for this one.
Yeah, they could, but I'm going to take the Bengals. Look, I'm somebody who believes upright, like win-loss. I think Tennessee's winning this game, but I actually think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. People will, point to the Bengals offense and say that this is going to be a rout, or point to how Derrick Henry's coming back, and that might be a route on that side. But I think it's going to be a very close game. When you're looking at Cincinnati, they're winners of 4 of their last 5. They're playing great football right now, and they have more wins against the spread than Tennessee. So, for bettors out there, if you want that note, and in their last 6 games, as an underdog, Cincinnati has managed to be undefeated. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at how they're playing offensively. If this is a shootout, then this will be a long day for Tennessee. I know Tennessee's defense is pretty good, but do they have enough to shut down guys like Jamar Chase, especially with that connection that he has with Joe Burrow, and guys like Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, who might get more targets this weekend. So what I recommend for Tennessee, you got to run the football. They have been doing a good job of that, even without Derrick Henry on the second half of the year. So will he be rusty? Will he not? That's Derrick Henry. We'll see. But with no Larry Ogunjobi, with no Mike Daniels, I know that the Bengals are seventh in rush defense, but with guys out in the interior, how is that going to be against a team that relies so heavily on the run, right? If Tennessee manages to kill clock and just manage to have a lot more time of possession, they'll keep Joe on the bench. But I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll see. I just trust in what Joe Burrow has provided us, right? He's looking really, really good as of late, and they lead the league in pass yards per play, 8.7. And when you're playing a team in Tennessee, what at times struggles with the pass, that might help you out if you're going to go with Cincinnati. So yeah, I'm going to go there. Both teams though, they have to protect the quarterback, especially Cincinnati, because guys up front like Jeffrey Simmons, like Harold Landry, all these guys in Tennessee, they get to the quarterback all the time. So that's what I'd recommend for Cincy. Experience could get Tennessee a win here, but I will go underdog as for the spread. So give me the Bengals here.
Yeah, there's stats for both teams in this one. This is a very fascinating matchup to kick off the divisional round weekend. Mike Vrabel undefeated off a bye, but you look at the Bengals, you mentioned some of their numbers in terms of covering the spread lately. Hard to bet against them right now. 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 road games. They've won 5 straight. They covered in 5 straight coming into this matchup. And this is going to come down to how is Derrick Henry going to look? I know we're all excited to see him back. I'm a huge Derrick Henry guy, but look, the guy hasn't played since October. If
Right.
Titans fans really think he's going to run the way that he did in this one after that huge time off, you're in for something. I really think we're going to see him have some rust. And if the Bengals with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, that connection playing as well as they are, if that duo gets going early like they did against the Raiders, all of a sudden you're forcing Tannehill's hand to have to throw the football. And that's the last spot the Titans want to be at. So it's very important the Titans get the early lead. They're able to run the ball effectively. But if that doesn't happen, this could be the Bengals game to possibly upset the Titans. And I know they have some key injuries to their defense, but you cannot ignore that the Bengals, 7th ranked rush defense. This is a good rush defense regardless. So they're going to make life tough for Derrick Henry. And if this becomes a shootout, if this becomes a matter of Tannehill trying to come back, that's not going to be a good recipe for Tennessee. I don't really trust Tennessee as a 1 seed. Not really keen on them from the midpoint of the season and on. I could see them winning this game, but I like that I'm getting the hook here. So I got to agree with you, Jelani. I do like the Bengals in this spot. This is a team that they're new blood. They're playing well. You look at who's leading that team in Joe Burrow, so composed, great future ahead of him. He's ready for the moment. He knows how to win big games going back to his days at LSU. This dude comes up big, and I just think this Bengals team, they might be onto something special. It's crazy. They hadn't won a playoff game in 31 years. They snapped that with this young group of players, and then they could also snap their drought of not making it to an AFC Championship game. If they win this, they'll make it to that game for the first time since 1988. So
Wow.
there's not a better core you want to put faith in if you're a Bengals fan than this one. I think the Bengals will keep it close. I wouldn't even be surprised if they pull off the upset. I just don't know how Henry's going to look, and I just don't trust Ryan Tannehill as he goes up against Joe Burrow. Burrow is legit, and he's going to have a big game, and he's going to turn a lot of heads, I think, on Saturday.
Yeah, real quick, I just say, when you're looking at the AFC Championship game a few years ago, which the Titans were in, they played a high powered offense in Kansas City. They managed to run the ball, but not well enough, and they were down early. So the Tennessee Titans, they have to have a good start because, yes, you could run the football all you want, but let's say that it's 14-3. You're going to have to start passing the ball. And if they start slow, if you always have these 3 and outs and drives that are stalled, that would allow the Bengals to get back on the field and manage to score points. And again, like you said and like I said, if it's going to be a shootout, I'm obviously going to lean with the Bengals right now. They're just looking great, and especially against Tennessee, who's one of the worst teams against the pass. They're eighth
Yeah.
worst against the pass. Hey, you gotta look at that and definitely take the Bengals here. But I do think the Tennessee Titans are going to win the game by a field goal.
It's going to be a great matchup. We'll see what happens there. Okay, let's move on now. We got the San Francisco 49ers upsetting your Cowboys. They're taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Packers off the bye here, 6-point favorites.
I'm going with the Packers. I know that Aaron Rodgers has struggled with the Niners, the team that he grew up rooting for. He's 0-3, okay, in the playoffs against these guys, and the recent one was 2019. And you're also looking at San Francisco. They're playing well, obviously, 6-1 against the spread in their last seven as underdogs. But I'm seeing what's going to happen this weekend. You're having a quarterback battle. I'm always looking at quarterback, and who's up there right now? We have Aaron Rodgers one side, we have Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy almost gave the Cowboys a win the other day. Okay. I think that, you got to put your trust in Aaron Rodgers in this spot. And especially given the fact that San Francisco's a bit banged up. I know that Nick Bosa, who was fourth in sacks in the league, he might be back after that concussion he had. And Fred Warner, he's also probably going to play. They were both hurt in that game against the Cowboys. So how are they going to look here? But if they can't get to Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be a very long day for the Niners. They have to manage to get after him, and that's what they've done in the recent meetings with him, right? So I'm looking at that. I'm also looking at the fact that the Packers are getting several guys back on both sides of the ball. You're looking at Zadarius Smith, who will help rush Jimmy Garoppolo. Whitney Merciless probably going to get back Jair Alexander. That's their defense. On offense, Billy Turner on the O-line, Randall Cobb, he's probably going to be back. All these guys coming back. Bakhtiari, he didn't practice, but it was just load management. So he's probably going to be out there as well. When you're giving the best team in football all these key guys back, that is so beneficial for them in this time. And, I get it. San Francisco, they could run the ball. They're physical, but also Green Bay, they do the same thing. They have a legit running game and a two-headed monster with Dillon and Jones, and they actually outgained the Niners in their meeting this year in San Francisco. So I'm looking at that, and I'm saying to myself, I just trust in what the Packers can give me. They have more to offer up. I like what MVP Aaron Rodgers is doing right now, and at the end of the day, I mean, it's the quarterback that doesn't make the mistake. And I just can't say that Jimmy's not going to make a mistake. One week he does, one week he doesn't. I don't know what Jimmy is. I don't know what Jimmy's going to show up in Lambeau, and especially given the weather. The weather is going to be important to look at because they're saying that there's a chance for snow. We'll see how that looks, and it might be somewhere between 10 or 15 below. So, given that, and given the snow, given the elements, you're going to obviously say, okay, San Fran, all they're going to do is run the ball. They're seventh in rushing, right? But I think the Packers can match up the same way with their running game with Dillon and Jones. So I don't give a full advantage to the San Francisco 49ers, despite the fact that the Packers sometimes do struggle with the run. But at the end of the day, I'm giving it to Aaron Rodgers here. I just think this is the year, right? If they drop this one, this would be terrible. This would be terrible. But yeah, give me the Packers.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers, but that 0-3 Niners record lifetime against them, that's staring him down right now. I mean, that's definitely got to be in his head. I think this is too many points. I really think all these games are going to be close, and I think this one's going to be another fantastic game. Remember, these two teams played each other earlier this season, and that one came down to the wire. That was an incredible game in which the Packers did come back and beat the Niners in San Francisco. The biggest key for me here is that Nick Bosa and Fred Warner expected to play in this one. If one or if not both of these guys were out, that would have been a huge loss for the 49ers. But if Bosa's out there, I mean, this dude, we see how he changes the game. In that first half that he played against the Cowboys, he was so instrumental with helping that defense, do what they're able to do and slow down that Cowboys explosive offense that were putting up points galore going into that game. So if they're there, I really feel confident with that defense containing Aaron Rodgers, making this perhaps a low scoring game at Lambeau, because we know this team dominates at Lambeau Field. You mentioned some of the numbers: 8-0 straight up, 7-1 against the spread at Lambeau Field this season. Also, the Packers, they are 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 trips to the divisional round. So they usually blow teams out in this spot, but I just think it's going to be different because the 49ers are built for postseason football. This is a team that they have shown that they can beat quality teams or at least keep it close against them. 7-3 straight up and 6-4 against the spread on the road. So they have proven to be a really good road team as well. Not to mention, they had a huge road win to get into the playoffs and then obviously upset the Cowboys on the road. So they're proving to be the road warriors of this season and of the playoffs. And I just think the intermediate passing game is going to be key for the Niners. Can he look to find, Kittle on quick passes? Can he get his best playmaker involved? Deebo Samuel, who's like a wide receiver, running back, everything in one.
Yeah.
He's going to get so many plays called for his number because I really think this is a game that he has to be the best player on the field if the Niners do want a chance. And the Packers pass defense was a little shaky to close out the season. We saw teams like Cleveland being able to move the ball and put up a number against the Packers. So I do think for as shaky as Jimmy G can be, I do think they can put together some drives and put some points on the board and actually move the ball down the field. The 49ers have so many playmakers on both sides of the ball. They're super deep, super talented. And I just think they will keep this game close. I do have the Packers winning, but I do like the 49ers to play this even keel game. And the key will be Jimmy G. Obviously, there's a huge discrepancy at quarterback, but if he can make his throws and limit his mistakes and not stupidly throw the ball like he did and on that one play against the Cowboys, giving him life, this should be a game where the Niners do have a chance to win going into the fourth quarter. And if that happens, then yeah, I'll be happy because I think the Niners will cover that 6-point spread. But that being said, in terms of them pulling off the upset, I just think Aaron Rodgers, this is his year. I agree with you, Jelani. I think given everything, he's going to be motivated. He's not going to want to drop this game. So if it is a close game, balls in his hands late in the game, you better believe he's going to come away with a late scoring drive, similar to the first matchup. So I do think it's going to be that type of game. Give me the Niners +6, but I won't be surprised if the Packers ultimately win this one.
Yeah, and speaking of Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams is going to be relied upon a lot, right? So I think with San Francisco, their weakness on defense is the secondary, and we didn't really get to see that in the wild card because CD and Amari barely got targets. Shout out to my Cowboys, but I think this week we're going to definitely see a lot of action with Devontae Adams. It happens all the time. We saw it when they met this season. So can they contain him somehow? Are you going to double him? Are you like what is the game plan going to be for him? Because San Francisco has allowed wide receivers on 6 different occasions to reach the 100-yard mark. So if that's going to be the case this weekend, it's going to be a long day for San Fran in terms of their secondary. But now let's move to the Los Angeles Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a great matchup in the NFC divisional. Is the GOAT going to win this one? Is he going to get it done once again? Or the Rams, who are looking pretty scary right now, are they going to pull off the upset in Tampa Bay?
You know what? This to me is the toughest game to predict this weekend because on one side you have a Rams team that's super talented and you're thinking to yourself, this has to be their year to make a deep run. And then on the other side, you have the GOAT Tom Brady and you're thinking to yourself, can I really bet against them? I mean, that old saying is never bet against Tom Brady, but here I am, Jelani, going to bet against the GOAT. I might regret this, but I'm going to take the +3. You just look at some of the matchups and mismatchups in this one. The Buccaneers are going to be undermanned, shorthanded. I mean, they could be without 2 starters on their offensive line before kickoff. And if that happens, good luck to Tom Brady when you got guys like Aaron Donald coming after you. The other problem is, there's Mike Evans. We know he's going to have a big game, but there's no Chris Godwin. So all that attention is going to be solely on Evans. We could see double teams. We can see, Jalen Ramsey get a crack at him and try to limit him. I know Evans did have a big game the last time these two teams played each other, but there was Godwin. There was another playmaker to stretch the field. He's thin right now in terms of his targets out there and in terms of guys he can throw the football to. And then you look at the Rams side of things. They're coming into this one healthy. They got all their playmakers, and the Bucs are not that great at stopping the pass. I mean, in week 3, when these two teams met, Stafford threw for 343 yards. We know how many great playmakers he had. And that game was even before OBJ. So now
Right.
you're talking about you got to worry about OBJ, Cooper Cup. Everybody is on, display of this Rams offense. And we did see that in that blowout win against the Cardinals. I think this is a game where the Buccaneers, just all those injuries, guys being out, them being thin, it's finally going to catch up to them because they are going up against a superstar Rams team. So I will take the hook. I will take the +3. Would not be surprised if Brady somehow pulls this one out. Last second drive to win this game by 1 or 2. But I just look at both these teams, both these rosters going into this one, and the Rams are the better team, and they've
Right.
proven to be the better team, and they've beaten the Bucks not only in Week 3 but even last season. So this is a team that seems to always give Brady fits. And there's one team I think the Bucks did not want to see this playoffs, and that is this Rams team, which they're going to get on Sunday.
Yeah, so my initial pick coming into the year, I actually had these teams meeting in the playoffs, and I took the Rams. As the playoffs have actually come around, I entered the playoffs thinking, okay, Tampa is probably going to win a matchup if they meet up with the Rams. But no, I'm going back to my initial pick. I'm going with LA here. But I mean, it's the GOAT, right? You can't really bet against the GOAT, but I am here as well. I think when you're looking at the 2-2 record that LA has had, the 2-0, excuse me, record that they've had against Tom Brady since Brady has arrived to Tampa Bay, they've had his number, right? And that's very important when you're looking at a game here. And I get it, you're gonna try to throw all these records out the window for a playoff game. But you mentioned it. The key factor in this one is the offensive line. How are they going to look? Ryan Jensen hurt, Tristan Wirfs hurt, and definitely Tristan Wirfs. I'm looking at that edge, and he's been there. He's been a mainstay. He hasn't missed a game since being drafted. So if he's not out there, that's going to be huge. And Tom Brady, he got hit and he got pressured and hurried a lot against the Eagles. Despite the score, they managed to get to Tom Brady. So let's say, for example, Ryan Kerrigan, he had 3 tackles, he had 2 for loss, and he had 1.5 sacks. So let's say he's doing all that. What about Aaron Donald this weekend? That's going to be huge. Like if Ryan Kerrigan can manage to do stuff, against Tom Brady in that area, we're going to expect to see stuff from Aaron Donald. And if not Donald, then they have other guys that could get to him. Leonard Floyd. They have Ashawn Robinson, of course, Von Miller. They have plenty of guys up front that can manage to get to Tom Brady, and that's the name of the game. The only way to beat this guy is to rush for, manage to rush for, and get in his face. And I believe the defensive line for the Los Angeles Rams right now playing their best football. We saw what they did to Kyler Murray. Kyler, he just couldn't do anything the other day because he just didn't have time, right? And if you don't give Tom Brady time, that is great for you. And I'm looking at the weapons. You mentioned it, Mike Evans. He's obviously going to be the heavy favorite in terms of who Tom Brady's looking for, but also look for Rob Gronkowski. I know that he's a bit older, maybe not the same Gronk, but I look at him in the playoffs, right? He's very reliable in terms of what Tom's looking for. But if Evans and Gronk can be contained or limited by LA, then who's going to be the next man up? We didn't really see great work from Perryman or other guys out there on the field for the Bucks offensively. They actually had a slow start against Philadelphia. So, with that being said, if LA could just manage to at least contain one of the guys, Evans or Gronk, then will be a great day for them defensively, and especially given the fact that their secondary is still beat up. We didn't really see anything against Arizona because Arizona just couldn't throw the ball. But Tom will try to pick his spots against a beat up secondary in the back end with their safeties. But I think that when you're looking at it, LA, their D line will outdo the O line of Tampa Bay due to injuries. And I'm looking at Stafford. I think Stafford, he has to have a clean game again. He had a clean game against the Cardinals, but he's going to be relied on a bit more. I think the tasks are going to be a bit more than what we saw in the wild card. Why? Because we saw that Sean McVay, he just wanted to run the football, make it easy for Matthew Stafford. Just don't mess this up. But
Yeah.
now playing Tom, you're going to have to throw the ball. I don't want to see any mistakes, right? If you throw an interception, you're giving the GOAT a chance, and you don't want to do that, right? So keep the ball to yourself And we're going to see Cooper Cup, obviously. I think he's going to get more targets this weekend. But if not, OBJ, other side of the field, and he's looking great. He's looking the best I've seen him look since those early days in New York. Yes. So look for OBJ to be an X factor here. I got the Rams covering this one. We'll see what happens with Tampa. I mean, they're just so beat up. At some point, you're going to be like, man, Tom's going to lose, right? But he has won with less than this in New England. So we'll see what happens. But give me LA.
Yeah, this is a fascinating game. This is going to be my game of the weekend that I'm just interested to see what happens. Will the great Tom Brady finally lose, or is he going to pull one out once again? But that's a big point you made about Stafford. Can he have a clean game? I think he's the biggest X factor in this all. Like I said, last game, he had a phenomenal game through the air, threw for 4 touchdowns. But if he starts this game off by throwing an interception or looking a little shaky, like you said, that gives more opportunities to Tom Brady and that Bucks offense that has looked really good at home. And that
Yeah.
is the big difference from this meeting compared to the first meeting. The Bucks will be at home, and they have proven to be one of the best home teams in all of football. So we'll see how that one goes down. And then to conclude the divisional round weekend, I might have lied. I think this is the game I'm
Yeah, this is
most
the
looking
one.
forward to. Bills, Chiefs. Sunday's going to be a great day of NFL action. What do you see happening here? Chiefs, 2.5 point favorites. It's a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game.
This is the closest game I've picked all year. I don't even know, to be honest with you. I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm looking at them playing at home, Arrowhead. I mean, they are almost unbeatable under Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid at the helm. So when you're looking at the fact that their last home playoff loss was what, 3 years ago, 3 seasons ago in the AFC Championship to Tom Brady and the Pats. It's been that long. I do trust them in this spot against a team in Buffalo who is balling right now. So, yes, don't be surprised, guys, if the Bills walk in there and win this game. But I'm giving it to KC because I'm looking at the defense. The defense, look, they're not the 85 Bears, but they have been able to have good performances. They have been able to limit certain teams. I think that they may bend, but they won't break, right? So if they don't break, they give their offense more opportunities, right? And I think the offense of Kansas City is finally kind of finding their form. And it's the perfect time of year to find their form. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be somebody to watch in this one. So we'll see what happens with that. But I just believe in Andy Reid. I believe in what he can do. And I think his game plan will outdo the game plan of Sean McDermott of the Bills, right? And also look at this, guys. Mahomes in his starts, counting the playoffs as well, 57 and 15. So this is not really a
Oh,
team you want to bet against, guys. So I'm going with Kansas City. They're looking like the KC of old. We saw what they did against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're also beating teams that are really, really good. 6 of their last 10 wins have been against playoff teams. So they have been playing a lot better than what they looked like in the first half of the season, right? And also, why am I taking Kansas City? I think that the pressure is on Buffalo. Look, the pressure's on Buffalo. I think they're the ones that are coming in this one knowing they have to get it done, right? And if they don't get it done and fall short, everyone's going to be like, okay, what happened here, right? So I think with Kansas City, they could sit back. Obviously, they're at home, but I think they sit back, understand they've been here, they've done that, they've won. Buffalo hasn't. So with the experience factor, with all the stuff that Kansas City provides me, I'm going with them. But one thing is Buffalo, they have to be limited. You have to somehow get to Josh Allen, at least bother him somewhat. The Pats failed to do so, and we saw what happened. I mean, they're third in points scored all year. They're also defensively first in points allowed and point differential. So Buffalo's a really strong group. They could definitely win this game. The running game will be beneficial for both sides of the ball. And I think with Buffalo, you obviously see the legs of Josh Allen. For them, if you're going to bet Bills here, you're also going to want them to run the ball with Singletary. I think he's a nice player, just doesn't get enough touches all the time. But watch for that. And if you're a Chiefs guy like me, I'm hoping that they also use the run, right? Use the run to just have more prolonged possessions, right? And McKinnon, he's also going to do work in the backfield in terms of passing game. So give me Kansas City here. The Bills didn't have a turnover in the first meeting, but if they have one here, I mean, it's going to be tough. If they don't, they may win the game. Whoever doesn't make a mistake wins this game. And if you're asking me Jelani, who are you taking to not make a mistake? I'm actually going Patrick Mahomes, even though Josh Allen has looked really good.
Yeah, this is a mega matchup, man. Definitely take the over. I think a lot of points are going to be scored. We saw what the Chiefs did against the
Yeah,
Steelers, and the Bills' offense was so incredible that they didn't even punt the football once. It was crazy
incredible.
to see the drives they've had leading to a kneel down to end the game. I think this is going to be one of the best games of the weekend. This is going to live up to the hype, and it's funny you mentioned about the pressure being on the Bills. I think this is going to be that game that defines them, because all the talk was about, can the Bills get over their big brother, the Patriots? And they did. They proved to people the Patriots are a thing of the past. This is our division now. We're the team to beat. Now it's about, can this team get over the next obstacle in the Kansas City Chiefs and prove to be the class of the AFC. I don't know if they're ready to take that leap just yet, but the Bills were working tirelessly during the offseason. They were not really focused on the regular season, knowing that this was on their mind. They just wanted to get another chance, another crack at trying to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And we saw that frustration come out in the first meeting. They went
Yeah.
into Arrowhead and they whooped the Chiefs. But this time around in the playoffs, Chiefs are playing a lot better than they did to start the season. They have been unbelievable, an unbelievable bet at home. I got to ride with them too, -2.5. And it's funny, I did pick the Bills to get to the Super Bowl at the start of the season. So I'm actually changing on my pick here just because I don't like this matchup for the Bills. I think you can't bet against the hot hand of the Chiefs. They have owned this conference in the last couple of years. The last team to beat them, like you said, at home in this conference and eliminate them from the playoffs in general was Tom Brady. And you look at Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. They've been stellar, a stellar bet, 5-0 against the spread in their previous 5 games at Arrowhead. And the Chiefs are also 6-1 against the spread in their last 6 home playoff games. So they have been a very safe bet. If this was in Buffalo, it might have changed things, but
Yeah.
I cannot bet against the Chiefs at home, given their track record of always coming out of the conference. And I think they will get it done. And I do have this team, getting to a Super Bowl and once again competing for another Lombardi. So I think it's going to be another long offseason, because I don't know where you go from here if you're the Bills. You're a really good team, but the Chiefs are just that much better. So I think it's going to show itself here. And I think, yeah, Andy Reid will be the X factor, just him having the experience, knowing how to win these games, being to a couple Super Bowls, being to multiple championship games, knowing how to get it done in the divisional round. I think it will show itself here. So sorry, Bills Mafia. It's going to be it was an incredible season for you guys, but I think it will end. But hey, if the Bills can pull this one out, Jelani, that's huge for Buffalo, man.
Mm.
There's going to be parties galore. They're going to be partying for a week straight, because I think this is their Super Bowl. If they
Yeah.
beat the Chiefs, the Bills are probably going to the Super Bowl and they'll have a good chance against whoever they play on the other side. They got to get past the Chiefs. This is their biggest obstacle of the postseason, and we'll see if they could get it done.
Yeah, no, I think Buffalo, honestly, this is their best shot. I think this is their best shot to get to the Super Bowl. The path is clear. You get through this one, then a lot of people are going to believe you'll beat either Tennessee or Cincinnati in the week after. So they're looking at this one. They've wanted this matchup, like you mentioned. They've been making sure that their depth and their lineup can attack Mahomes. That's all they've done in the offseason, manage to get guys and get personnel that can match up with the Chiefs. This is your opportunity. So I'm looking at Josh Allen. He has to have a big day. And there have been certain games, along the stretch of the year where he hasn't really looked like himself, right? So we're going to probably see a good game, and then we've seen a poor game, or at least, a pedestrian game from Josh Allen. How is he going to look here against Patrick Mahomes? You have to have a good day against him. I think Pat is going to have a nice one with that offense, who's starting to, really start to gel and starting to roll right now. So yeah, Buffalo, this is your opportunity, guys. If you want to get a Super Bowl ring, this is the best shot you have. If not, if you don't get this one, I think honestly the window might be closer to closing than opening for you guys.
Yeah, you got a lot of good young teams up on the rise, and the Bengals being one of them. All in all, it's going to be a fantastic weekend of football. I really do think all these games are going to be close. I hope we don't see any blowouts. I hope all
I
these games
know.
go down to the wire. And you look at our picks, Jelani and I are on the same page with 3 out of 4 picks. So we'll see what that means. Maybe it's a good thing. The one game we are different on, the Niners and the Packers. He likes the Packers to cover that 6. I like the Niners to keep things close. So all in all, man, we'll see what happens. And we will see who meets up for the AFC and NFC championship games next weekend. On behalf of myself and Jelani, thank you so much for watching. This is Spreadzies here on the Parlay.